Cards and Comic Show. Welcome back to Cards and Comics, guys. Today I have my October mail day. I usually have one or two of these a month. I've been out buying, been out selling. So I got some cool cards. I haven't picked up some enormous cards. I'm waiting for sort of end of the year when there's some deals and some sales going on. End of the year, holiday, sometimes you get some good deals. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Got a few, I guess my eyes on a few cards, but again, Christmas time's coming. In New York, you get your fun school tax bill. That's not fun at all. So there's other things going on. So one thing to tell you, as we talk about the video and I'll show cards, but I did record this video last night and I went to edit this morning and I fell asleep during the video. And there's like a 2-minute period in that video where I fell asleep because I did it at around 2 a.m. Because that's the time I had to do it. So I couldn't use the footage and I didn't want to edit out because I was incoherent and asleep at part of the video. So kind of funny that happened. Just to let you know, like I do record a lot of my videos late at night. So yeah, it's game one of the World Series. Yankees are ahead right now. And, just having a lot of fun at home. Haven't traveled in a little bit. But unfortunately, the travel is going to pick up here in a little bit. I'm going to Spain, doing a few conferences. I'll be going to DC, DC and Chicago and Spain are all planned this year. And then I've got Florida, Chile, Germany, and Spain again coming up in Q1 next year. So a lot of travel coming up. So enjoying time with the family around the holidays. So we'll start here with some vintage. We'll do vintage first, and we'll satisfy the vintage crave out there, guys. So first up here, and these are going to be in some kind of order, but first up here, 72 OPG, Willie Mays in action. So I am finishing out my Mays and Aaron collection. I'm getting closer and closer. I'm down to for Aaron, I'm down to just a few cards, maybe 2 or 3. And then for Mays, I'm still up, probably like 7 or 8. But this is not a base card. I would say like this is kind of like a fun, like I'm trying to get all the O-Pee-Chee cards as well. Sort of a secondary goal. I did complete my Clemente O-Pee-Chee set. So it's feasible I could do both the Aaron and Mays O-Pee-Chee sets as well. But here we go. So this one would fit into that classification of cards for me. It's just cool. I love O-Pee-Chee cards, and again, it's got the cool kind of a whitish color back. Again, these cards are a lot of fun for me. They're not, let's say, my number one collecting goal, but it's just fun for me to pick up these kind of cards. And I really feel like the O-Pee-Chee cards are still a little undervalued for how rare they are. I had a guy, in fact, I was like, I have a friend of mine who was talking about, cards, and he said something like, oh, I had a chance to buy some O-Pee-Chee cards, but they always sell much lower than Topps. I'm like, I don't know, different market than me, because every time I go buy O-Pee-Chee cards, they sell higher than the Topps card, but maybe it depends on the player or the year. But for me, Clemente cards definitely go higher if they're O-Pee-Chee. All right, next up is 2 cards, very similar, and again, back in the O-Pee-Chee theme. So I am trying to finish my Maz set. So I picked up the 70 O-Pee-Chee 6, and it was just really cheap. And so, and again, it's not as core as the base set, but at the same time, I did find an 8 for Topps. So now I have, I only need, I think, one more card for my base set for Maz. And, like I said, I love to pick up the O-Pee-Chee cards when I can. It's not a card that is highly graded, so it's hard to find 8s and 9s for this card, even if I wanted to. So I found a 6 that was really cool. And the cool thing about this is I can show you the back difference between O-Pee-Chee and Topps. And there you go. For 1970, it was not that different. You just get a whiter, different cardstock back for the O-Pee-Chee, and a duller, grayer back in Topps. There you go. This stuff definitely gets into my Pirates collection and trying to finish out my Stargell and Maz sets. Just a few cards away on both. I've got a massive Maz card coming in pretty soon as well. All right, moving into a card I really enjoy. I've never had this card before. It's from a set I really never collected too much because it was just one of those sets that was always in between for me. I was always focused on either T cards, Goudey cards, or 50s. So this is a 40s card, and it is the 1941 play ball Mel Ott. And for one thing, Mel Ott was, he is a very top tier Hall of Famer from this time period. Doesn't have a ton of cards, so this is one of the nicer cards. And the thing I love about this card is that it is so well centered. I just think it's one of those cards where, when you look at it, it has super nice eye appeal. And that's, to me, what I love about these cards is that even 2s and 3s can look great in the pre-war time period. Here's the back. And again, nothing wrong, no paper missing, nothing really weird. I'll show you up front here, kind of what it looks like. Just really, again, some honest corner wear. It's a really well centered 41 play ball Mel Ott 4. So I'm really happy to pick that up. First time I ever owned the card. Next up is a 33 Bill Hallahan. He played on the World Series team for the Cardinals. I believe they won it in 32, something like that. My dad's a big Cardinal fan, and he had these kind of cards when we collected together. And so I picked it up. And again, I picked it up because it was cheap and it was well centered. A really nice card. There's the back, really clean back. This is what you kind of get into is when you get in the pre-war cards, sometimes you just pick up cards for fun. This is I think a 4 is a good grade for 1933. And then finally is a card from a set. And this dealer had a ton of these cards all at the same time. I bid on maybe 8 of these cards and I only won this one. So I got a common. So it's from the E91 set, American Caramel. And he had a lot of Hall of Famers. He had a lot of cards from the set selling at the same time. So I was kind of excited to get it, just because I like this set. It's one of those sets that a lot of people don't like in the pre-war era. I think there's certain cards in this set that look really cool. And so I like this card because I like the pastel background. I just like the image. It's a 1.5, so it was pretty cheap. I want it, because I bid on a bunch of cards. I already had the Chief Bender, so I don't need the Chief Bender. So there's a few cards in this set that are pretty cool. And there's the back. Again, it's just one of those cards I picked up. I was bidding on a bunch of cards that I thought looked nice, or presented well for the grade. And so I ended up winning a common. So pretty cool card anyway. And again, I already have some like the Chief Bender from the set that I need for my Benders collection. So it was just kind of fun to bid on a few other cards. And they went kind of high. So a guy was breaking up, I guess, a full set. So it was kind of cool to see those cards all selling at the same time. Before I get to the modern cards, here's one card that's sort of a non-sports card. I just want to show you guys. This is from the DC Cryptozoic Bombshell set. That very hard to find now, that product, because DC kind of quit making cards for a few years, other than the stupid hero cards that they make now. No, this is from the Bombshells Cryptozoic set, and it's an actual sketch card, and it recreates the Mad Love cover, which is probably the second or third appearance of Harley Quinn, but it's also one of her greatest stories, and just a great cover. And it's a great recreation of a cover in a card form, which is hard to do because you're in a very small window to do that in. All right, we'll move on to football, and we'll start here with the big guy, because I love football cards, and I always love it when I get a card I've never owned before. And I'm really shocked I got this card, because I got it for a good price from what I think, and it's a great grade too. A PSA 10, 1998 Ultra exclamation points, and these are just really cool cards. I've showed off. I've got a few other players in this set, but it's just like, they're acetate. They have like a refractor. It's a great insert. It is not numbered. They are kind of rare. I think they were either a 1 in 144 or 1 in 288 insert. So they were one of the harder inserts to get in 98. But again, in 98, you also had platinum medallions and some other cards that were numbered that, sometimes get more pub. But this was one of the nicer insert sets of the 90s. And I just love it. I like a lot of the classic 90s insert sets, linchpins, cut above, and this is kind of in that same vein. And it's not as expensive. So a PSA 10 didn't cost as much as I thought it would. You can see it still has that the eBay verification. Next up is a few of my Reggie White pickups. So again, I'm a Reggie White collector. I've started collecting him for a little bit over a year now. So it's an interesting card. This is from the Action Pack set. And so Action Pack did these 24 karat gold. And they're kind of like a parallel set. You can kind of see it there. It is an interesting card. There you go. I'm not sure really how rare these cards were. I remember as a kid hearing about them, and I thought like a card made out of gold, which that's kind of how I thought about the cards when they first came out. Like, oh, we're gonna have like a gold cards here made solid gold. No, it was just like a little bit in the foil, right? So again, not as groundbreaking as some later cards, but still a pretty cool card, and just a interesting parallel. And Reggie White is a guy I collect quite heavily. Next up is a 94 Finest Refractor, Reggie White. These 94 refractors, now this is an 8, so it's not going to have a huge premium, but the 9s and 10s are starting to really go up in value for the Barry Sanders of the world. So I wanted to grab a refractor before they got a little too expensive for what they are, because they're not exceedingly rare, but they're still a pretty cool insert set. Early refractor of Reggie White. It's a PSA 8, so I didn't spend a ton of money. Yes, I could have waited till a 9 or 10 shows up. They're not that easy to find, honestly. These cards are pretty condition sensitive, so I was happy with this, and I'm not gonna spend the tons of money on that card, or an 8 will just do. I don't need to have that in a 10. Next up in the Reggie White world, this is a really interesting card. This is 94 Select. This is Canton bound, and it's using the Dufex technology. And these were, from what I remember, pretty tough inserts. These were a little white on them, a little fuzz there. But these were tough inserts. These Canton bound cards, from what I remember, like they were like maybe 1 in 24, 1 in 48. So again, that's still pretty tough. Like you get maybe one a box or one every other box. So, and I love the Dufex. I just like how that card shimmers and shines. And it was like a $5 card, so it's not like it's a card that costs a ton of money, but it's still a fun card. And then last but not least, in football, got 297 embossed refractors. It's a common. This is Byron Morris. I think maybe he was I think he may have been Van Morris as well. I don't really remember back in 97 who everyone was and their nicknames. I just like the embossed refractor. You can see the double-sided refractor. This is the silver, so that's a fun card. And then the second big card, I guess you'd say, is I got the Bruce Smith in a mint 9 in the embossed silver. just a great card. I love that card, how it shines. I just, again, I've talked about my love of the set, and I think every 90s collector loves this set. So this is like not a going on a limb and saying this is like one of the cooler sets made in the 90s. Love it. And Bruce Smith, he has some fans, and he's a top tier Hall of Famer. He is considered one of the best defensive, linemen or ends that ever existed. So, I have my Reggie White collection. But again, Bruce Smith is, he is, one step below, I would say, the Reggie White world, but he is like that next tier, him and Derek Thomas and those kind of players. So, you have Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White. Those are really top tier, like Mean Joe Green, guys who were kind of like game changers, in that defense. And these guys were right below that level. So really good, great players, and, fun to collect because they're cheap. I keep saying that in football. Football is one of those great products or sports where outside of quarterbacks, you can get most other players at reasonable rates if you're looking just to collect and have fun. 90, especially 90s football, you can have a ton of fun in the $20 to $40 range in football in the 90s. Moving on to baseball now. Here's the 90s baseball stuff. So here's some, just random cards I picked up from different sets I like. First up is a 98 Platinum Medallion from Ultra. And this is a Shane Reynolds. And then he was a very good pitcher for a lot of years. And so there's been a dealer running a lot of Platinum Medallions. And so I just picked this up, again, a common, to get one in the collection. And this interesting one I liked about this one was that how off the stamp is. And so if this card is off that much, that means that you probably have a whole sheet or maybe even more sheets that have this kind of stamp where it's that far off. So it'd be interesting. I need to go back and look at some eBay photos to see if there's other cards with similar kind of stamps that are that far off. But yeah, I just wanted to get, a card from that set in hand to kind of look at it and see what it looks like. And that was a pretty cheap way for me to do it. And the guy wasn't a total scrub. Shane Reynolds was pretty good for a lot of years. Next up, 2000 Ionics, not even a 90s card, but 2000 Ionics. And this is the Warp Zone, Pedro Martinez. So these were like 1 and 288. These were tough inserts. They have just kind of a foil refractory look to them. This one, unfortunately, has a print line that goes right here. But other than that, it's a great card. And, Pedro's stuff does sell okay. I'm not saying that he's like as great as Griffey, but he definitely sells pretty well. And so it was just fun. I wanted to get a copy of this. There's a Derek Jeter that I'm looking at buying as well from this set. They made this set in 99 and 2000. So this is the 2000 version. I definitely want to get both the 2000 and the 99 version of Griffey. That's sort of on my wish list right now. Next up, my favorite set in the 90s, 99 Bowman's Best. Everyone, if you pay attention to my videos or first time on the channel, my favorite set, it's nostalgia driven. It was the first set I ever bought when I came back in the hobby. So I went to college, went to school, and kind of got out of the modern cards for a little bit. Just was buying some Clemente cards, things like that. And this was the first modern set I came back and bought. Was 98 Bowman's Best. It was like the first box of cards I bought after I graduated college and got back into collecting some modern cards. And so this set really was nostalgia driven for me because I opened that first box and I got, an Atomic Refractor. I thought it looked cool. The cool thing about this is that it's 100 out of 100. So that's a really kind of cool version of the card to be the last card, 100 out of 100. It's Atomic. It's really awesome. Back in the day, so another reason why I love 99 Bowman's Best is because I got lucky early on. I pulled a Griffey Best Performers Atomic Refractor out of a pack, and I also pulled an auto. I forget who it was. I maybe it was Scott Rowland. So it wasn't like the Jeter auto, but still, I was super hooked on that product from the beginning because I got lucky on some hits. Next up, some 97 new Pinnacle. That these are some of the artist proofs and museum collection cards. I just want to show them off. No, there are some fun museums, but the artist proofs aren't quite as good. But I've got a Alex Gonzalez. Really, I just love these cards. Wendell McGee. You can see that Dufex. I love that color Dufex. And then you got Travis Fryman, who was good for a lot of years. So these are the artist proofs. And then next up, these golds are the museum collection. A lot of people get these confused. I know I do as well. Sometimes I forget that these are museums and these are the artist proofs because they just look so cool. But I do have Greg Maddux and Jim Thome. So my museum collection cards are actually really nice. I just got the Griffey back the other day in my other video, so it's on my Instagram as well. The museum Griffey, the Clout 9 are the really cool ones. So love these cards. I'm not trying to do a set yet. If I was going to do a set, I probably would do these. I probably do the artist proofs. But I pick them up whenever I can. And again, a lot of times these cards are like under $5. So again, I can spend $20. I know they're shipping, but let's say $30, and get 4 or 5 artist proofs and museums on a set I really like, or buy 1 pack of cards on ePack or something like that. So there's some, value and nostalgia equation going on there when I pick up these cards. It's not always because I'm building sets, even though building sets is something I'm kind of advocating as something new for me in the hobby, as someone who's am advocating for set building again, because I just like seeing the entire set together in a binder. And, I love those top loader binders. I have 3 or 4 of them now. I'm filling them out with different sets I've collected or I'm in process. So it's just a lot of fun to see the progression of those sets. And the last but not least is Jorge Posada. This is the Pinnacle Certified Gold, Mirror Gold. So again, you have the Platinum mirrors, which again look like this card right here, which is my Derek Jeter. And so you got the regular mirrors and you got the Platinums. The Platinums are numbered out of 30, like this Jeter here. You can see that numbering there. I just like to show off the Jeter. It's one of my favorite cards. But yeah, so this is just a regular, but it's Jorge Posada. He's a very popular Yankee. I'm in Yankee territory, so I picked this up. I thought it was a cool card, just to grab. I love it. They're not numbered in, so the 97 set, unfortunately, there were shenanigans with Pinnacle. They were going bankrupt. And so there is a lot of rumors about cards being backdoored, whole sheets that were cut, things like that, to where the pop, whatever they stated the print run is definitely not the print run. And so these cards really don't know how many were printed. I don't think there's tons of them. Like, there's like 5,000 of these or something silly like that. But still, like, it wasn't like the 96. So the set has suffered because of that. Those rumors and just the fact that there's more of them available than the prior year, just from people tracking them on sales and pop counts. So moving on to some more of my players I collect heavily in the 90s. So Griffey, Jeter, Thomas. But here's a card I just want to show off separately from a set I love. So this is 1998 Circa Thunder, the Rave Reviews, and I think this is just a really underrated, undervalued insert set. These were pretty tough. They were either 1 in 144 or 288. They were one of the chase hits. If you look at them, they've got kind of etched foil here, gold stamping and die cutting. Just a lot of technologies in this insert set that made it look cool. It just looks impressive when you see it. I just love this card. It's an 8, but these cards are condition sensitive due to the die cut. So, but I just want to show it off. I just grabbed it. I've got the Griffey. So I'm just, now I've got the Thomas. The Bonds. Next up is a couple of Frank Thomas cards. I only got 2. One of them is this card here. This is the other parallel card from Ultimate Victory from 99. So I have the numbered out of 100. I have it right here. So let me pull it down for you so you can see the difference between those cards. Because I love that card. It's one of my favorite kind of insert sets that people kind of forgot about. These are my cards to get graded or regraded in some cases. So here is the 100, and here's the regular version. So this is kind of a wavy pattern. This is what they call like a rain pattern. So I've heard it called wave and rain. I've heard different things about it. But again, they're not that easy to find either version. There's only a couple copies on eBay of this card. And then this card, again, it's kind of a ghost. It's numbered out of 100. You can see it numbered right there. So it's 33 out of 100. So just like showing off, like I think they're just really cool parallels. And again, I'm just trying to go, to tell you like these do not sell for a lot of money. And even the 100s, you can pick up a lot of Hall of Famers in the 100s at pretty cheap comparatively. Like if this was a Topps Chrome refractor out of 100, it'd sell for 4 to 5 times what that card cost me to get. Moving back into 99 Bowman's Best, 96 Bowman's Best. This is just a base refractor for Frank Thomas. Just, it's a 9. I picked it up. I am becoming more conscious with my last grading result. Maybe 9s are undervalued because of how PSA is just giving 8s and below it like candy to everyone now. So maybe the 9 is a little more special than we gave it credit for back in the day. In the back of the day, 9 was like basically the same as raw. You had to get a 10 to get any premium. And no, I don't know. Maybe the 9 should have a little more premium with how hard everything is to get today. Next up is my only Jeter card, but again, it's from that 97 New Pinnacle set. I was surprised I got this card so cheap. And it is the Museum Jeter in a PSA 10. These cards are condition sensitive. They're foil. The back is very easy to chip, especially right here in that corner with the color. I mean, I thought I thought it was kind of impressive. I got found a 10 on this card in a price range that, again, it's pretty darn cheap comparatively for how cool this card is. So on Jeter, I sold some Jeter cards to buy that platinum, totally certified platinum gold Jeter. So I got rid of a good chunk of my Jeter collection to be able to buy that one card. So I'm buying some of those cards back. And this is an example of a card I had that was not a 10, but I was able to get this card. I felt pretty good price. And so I replaced one of the cards I sold with a card that's probably a little bit better condition. So kind of win-win. Next up is the Griffey. So the first one up is the 96 Bowman's Best Cuts Refractor. Again, this goes into my whole, one of my big Griffey goals is to collect all of his refractors from the 90s. And so I'm down to like, I think the last time I looked, it was like, I need to go back and look. I think it's 15. I need like 15 90s refractors and I'll be done with all of the Griffies. Now, I have some numbered ones, some of the rare ones, but I don't have all of the rare ones. So I still need some big ones. This is the ones I need. I actually need this Atomic as well. So these are pretty available, both versions. These are not super rare. So I just been kind of waiting and finally picked one up, but this is not going to be the cards that prevent me from getting my set done. It's just, I've been kind of waiting around and trying to find a cool one. And I love this card. It's a die cut. It's just a cool looking card. The refractor on this card has the Atomic refractor look to it, or the Superfractor look to it. So it looks amazing too. So it's just two really cool Griffey cards that I need. I've got one of the two now. This next card actually surprised me for how much it sells for and how hard it is to find. It's the 1997 Topps Chrome All-Star Refractor. So this is kind of an insert refractor. It's not numbered, but the thing about this is just how striking it is. Look at how deep that refractor is, the fireworks in the background. You can just see how awesome that card looks, how it just pops. And so this card is actually very popular. Just within the idea, like there are a few Griffey cards like that are, let's say they're not numbered, they're not super rare, but they're rare enough. But since they look so nice, they just are expensive. And this card sells for a high dollar amount comparatively to other, there's a lot of, let's say 98. There's some inserts at, refractors of Griffey. They don't sell very well compared to this card. So it's really cool. It is a CGC graded card. So that's, kind of one of those things. But I'm not trying to do my Griffey collection in PSA or set registry. So I'll just leave it the way it is, because I just think it's, it doesn't detract from the card, and it's a PC card. I'm trying to build this entire refractor set, and that card just looks awesome and amazing. Glad to get off the checklist. And last but not least, I picked up this card because I read about the set, how cool the refractors are, and it was kind of like, almost like the last hurrah of etching of refractors. And this card actually in a hand is impressive. So this is the 2010 Finest, and this is the blue refractor Griffey. There's different colors. There's gold. I think there's green. I got the blue because it's a color match. But the one thing I want to show people is just how the etching on that refractor in the background and how it looks in the light. And in some cases, it almost shines like neon. It looks just super cool. Like they did a great job on this card and in this design, even though it's like to a lot of people, oh, it's just kind of basic on the design, but how they do that etching in the background is just beautiful. It just shows you how much that adds. There's where it looks kind of like neon. It just looks really cool in the light. It's a great looking card, and this is numbered out of 299. So it's not the super rare one. The golds are numbered out of 50, but just look right when you show it like in that light there, just how it almost like pops off the card. Just a beautiful card. It just like shows that like, these little details like this etching on this card make a huge difference in collectability and people who would want this card. And I say too is like, this is a great example of the 2000s where I did a video about the 2000s. If you want to check it out, where I'm kind of talking about why the 2000s aren't as collected or talked about. There is so many hidden gems in the 2000s for people to go explore, to find out, to collect. And right now, a lot of them are pretty cheap. There are a few of them that are starting to go up a little bit. But this is a great example of a set and a card that are pretty darn cheap, 30, 40 bucks for some of these cards, for some of these Hall of Famers. And you get this really amazing looking card that kind of jumps out you, almost 3D like off the card, for not much money. So again, as a collector, someone who just wants to buy cards because I like cards, I think they're cool again. If it's a niche very well, like if I'm trying to save money or I bought some cards and, I want to pick up a few cards here and there just to keep my collection going. These are the kind of cards I really hit on that they don't cost a lot. They're fun. They're great looking cards. And they're just, I can put them in the PC and it fits right in with my theme. And I love that, just like, when I look at these cards and I'm just like, man, these are just really cool and fun refractors that make me go like, I'm glad I collect these cards because I just think they're a lot of fun. They look great. So there it is, guys. That's my mail day. Let me know what you think. I got a few cards coming in. I got another big pre-war card coming in that I can't wait to show off. So when it comes in, I'll let you guys know. And until then, I'll see you next time on Cards and Comics. Bye.